Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Newsroom series on Channels Television. I'm Joker Rogers. Today we're in the Northeast region and we begin in Gombe State, where the federal government has taken another major step towards the takeoff of the National Orthopedic Hospital, Biniri, as the Ministerial Technical Committee on the project completes the assessment of both the temporary and permanent sites of the facility. The hospital is expected to provide specialized care for patients suffering from arthritis, spinal cord injuries, ligament tears, fractures, and other musculoskeletal and bone-related conditions.
Specialist orthopedic care could soon become a reality for residents of Gombe State and the wider Northeast as plans gather momentum for the takeoff of the National Orthopedic Hospital in Biniri. Members of the Ministerial Technical Committee are in Biniri local government area to conduct an on-the-spot assessment of both the temporary and permanent sites of the proposed National Orthopedic Hospital. And the visit marks another major step towards the establishment of a specialized health facility. The process began with the sponsorship of the bill by the member representing Balanga, Union Federal Constituency, Ali Issa JC, followed by the presidential assent, the appointment of an acting chief medical director, and now the technical assessment ahead of the commencement of operations.
The orthopedic hospital proposal is for the most likely to the entire region, the Northeast region. Because when you look at the orthopedic hospital, they are very few in the federation. But thank God now, after the persistence, the effort, put in its own effort to make sure this becomes a reality.
Stakeholders in the constituency say the arrival of the ministerial team demonstrate steady progress toward making the hospital operational. They describe the project as a significant healthcare intervention for the state and the Northeast.
From Adamawa State, Taraba State, Adamawa State, and all other states within the Northeast sub-region will benefit from this. There is this employment opportunity for the youth. There is also a situation where when you have health problems, you will come here and you will have your problems solved.
This is the converging point of the Northeast. So this place being sited in the North, in Gombe, will give the opportunity to many people around to be able to have these specialized services here.
The acting chief medical director says the hospital is designed to provide specialist treatment for scoliosis, arthritis, fractures, spinal injuries, and other musculoskeletal conditions. He adds that the facility will play a vital role in managing trauma cases, particularly victims of road traffic accidents along the busy Gombe Highway.
Patients that have deformities, patients that have certain conditions like spondylosis, that's problems with the spine, patients that have arthritis, and we need children with cough and so on. So we start with those ones.
Following the inspection of both sites, members of the Ministerial Technical Committee briefed the Gombe State Deputy Governor on their findings and outlined the next steps toward the hospital's takeoff.
We are really very impressed with the facilities that we found on ground. We are going to make prepare a report that we send to the Honorable Minister of State for review with recommendations. So the next phase will be signing of the memorandum of understanding between the state government and the federal government. We also hope that the Federal Teaching Hospital will provide all the necessary technical support to assist the new National Orthopedic Hospital in taking off.
The Deputy Governor commends the federal government for the initiative and says the establishment of the National Orthopedic Hospital will further strengthen Gombe State's growing reputation as a healthcare destination in the Northeast.
We will do all we can do within our reach to ensure that that hospital attains the aims and objectives for setting it up. Billion people, I've always said it. The hospital is not for any community. That the hospital is for all humanity.
With the technical assessment completed, attention now turns to the final preparations before the hospital begins operations. Once operational, the National Orthopedic Hospital Biniri is expected to expand access to specialist orthopedic services, reduce referrals outside the region, and improve healthcare outcomes for patients across Gombe State and the Northeast.
In Bauchi State, the government has advanced plans to establish a mining institute to fully harness the benefits of the state's abundant solid mineral resources. The Commissioner for Natural Resources, Mohammed Maidara, says the government is already putting the necessary structures in place ahead of the passage of the bill establishing the institute by the State House of Assembly.
16 structures have been constructed simultaneously at the site of the Bauchi State Oil and Gas Academy in Alkalewi local government area. They include hostels, workshops, an ICT and laboratory complex, a clinic, a lecture theatre, auditorium, and a library. The Bauchi State government says the project is a forward-looking initiative aimed at positioning the state to benefit from its oil exploration activities and unlock the economic potential of the sector.
The young men who will be in this academy, they will get job not only in Bauchi State. They can be employed all over the country. They can be employed by oil exploration companies all over the country and even beyond. It's the academic building.
Project Coordinator Abdul Aziz Sani speaks on the progress of the work.
Well, now we're at 70% of completion for the construction only, but like now the Commissioner have just mentioned, there will be infrastructure that will be following, so we don't know if it will a little bit, but for us, as it stands, we're at 70%, and we're looking at the completion of 6 months by God's grace.
The team later visits another site, originally proposed as the Kaura Mineral Processing and Buying Center in Alkalewi, which is now being converted into a mining institute. The Commissioner for Natural Resources says the decision followed the identification of more than 700 informal mining sites across the state. According to him, establishing the institute will help promote responsible mining practices and maximize the state's solid mineral potential.
Commended it His Excellency to be converted for the training of youth in solid mineral extraction, solid mineral identification, solid mineral trading, solid mineral marketing, processing, as I have said earlier, to improve value addition.
He adds that plans are underway to expand the proposed institute with additional structures, noting that the bill before the Bauchi State House of Assembly has already passed its second reading. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
Stakeholders in Borno State and those in Yobe states are worried about the increasing insecurity which is forcing many farmers to abandon farming activities, which has been a major occupation of the states since a long time. While the states witness slight increase in the cost of food items, there are fears of food shortages, especially during the lean period, as farmers also witness low turnout, while prices of fertilizer and tractor hiring are beyond the reach of the ordinary man. In this special report, Channels Television looks at the implications of the inaccessibility of farms due to insecurity and how it may affect food production and the gross domestic products of the country.
Farming season remains a major source of livelihood for millions of people across northern Nigeria, particularly in Borno and Yobe states, where it supports both subsistence and commercial production. However, more than a decade of insecurity continues to disrupt agricultural activity, forcing many farmers to abandon their communities and farmlands in search of safety. While farmer-herder conflicts, poor rainfall, and the effects of climate change also contribute to the challenges, some farmers explain why they leave agriculture to pursue other means of livelihood.
I invested more than 700,000 naira. But at the end, I only realized nothing less than 200,000. So due to that, I am not be able to engage in farming activities this year.
For the year 2026, we acknowledge that there are existential threats of the insurgents due to their activities, and which has disrupted the farmlands, preventing farmers from going to farms, especially in remote communities.
Although governments continue to subsidize fertilizer and tractor hiring to reduce the cost of cultivation, demand still far exceeds supply. Channels Television's investigation indicates that food prices continue to rise in local markets, while affordability remains a major concern for many households.
The cost of food items, like example the maize, the cowpea, the rice and the beans and so on, they are increasing within these 3 months ago. Example, like the cost of these beans 3 months ago is around 65,000, 66,000 up to 70,000, but nowadays the cost is almost 109, 110.
Agricultural experts discourage heavy dependence on food imports, insisting that improving security across farming communities is critical to boosting local food production.
Most of our production are carried out in the rural areas by smallholder farmers. And now that they cannot go to their farms freely and farm, the implication is very grievous because food shortage will be imminent.
Look at farming, it is carried out in the rural areas, and problem of insecurity now has seriously made people in the rural areas to migrate for safety. From this term of about 150 years that I'm telling you, which almost 100% of members of the community were farmers. Now, because of these other equally important schedules in the economy, the people that can have time to go to farm cannot be more than at best 30%.
As insecurity continues to threaten farming activities, many Nigerians hope for lasting peace in affected communities, an outcome seen as essential to restoring agricultural productivity, improving food security, and strengthening the nation's economy.
To education, following the successful implementation of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, Agile, the Adamawa State Ministry of Education, in conjunction with development partners, is turning its attention to the empowerment of married adolescents and adolescent mothers. Speaking at the official launch of the Adamawa Reentry Guidelines Program for Married and Adolescent Mothers, the Adamawa State Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Garba Pella, says the administration of Governor Umaru Fintiri prioritizes inclusive education where no one is left out.
For many adolescent girls and young mothers, marriage often brings an end to their education. In Adamawa State, however, another initiative is creating a pathway to the classroom. The Adamawa State government, in partnership with Assisting Caring and Empowerment, ACE, and the Malala Fund, launches the Re-Entry Guidelines for married adolescents and adolescent mothers to promote continued access to education. Speaking at the event, the Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Garba Pella, says educating girls and young mothers is key to improving literacy and driving sustainable development.
So today I'm happy because I'm the proud son of a mother who stood by me in educators. And I'm happy that we have a framework that will ensure that every mother accesses education, because to me, if a mother is educated, there's a great tendency that her child will be educated.
The Post-Primary Schools Management Board pledges to implement the guidelines, while ACE says the initiative will help more adolescent girls and young mothers return to school.
For restaurants, this work has been about more than policy development. It's about listening to the girls whose educational journeys were interrupted. It's about understanding the barriers they face, engaging communities, and working alongside governments to build practical solutions that will create genuine opportunities for them to continue learning.
The Federal Ministry of Education says the guidelines provide a framework for supporting both in-school and out-of-school adolescent girls to continue their education without discrimination.
We identified factors that will make them stay in school, and as the research rightly identified, we need to provide child care support services, wash facilities, community engagement structures, and basically expansion and strengthening of learning centers and our schools.
The event culminates in the unveiling of the re-entry guidelines by the Commissioner for Education and Development Partners. The initiative is expected to be implemented across Adamawa State with the goal of improving access to education and giving adolescent mothers a second chance to achieve their academic aspirations.
When we come back on Newsroom series, we're taking a look at tertiary education in Taraba State this time. Details soon. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We're in Taraba State now, where the Vice Chancellor of the State University says the institution will not lower its standards and will not derail in ensuring that the passion in acquiring functional education is not sabotaged by poor infrastructure. The Vice Chancellor stated this at an event to inaugurate office accommodations built by the institution to address infrastructure deficit in the school.
Most infrastructure at Taraba State University has traditionally been funded by the state government and TED Fund. But in a first for the institution, the university's sandwich program is financing the construction of offices for academic staff and lecture theatres for students. University officials say the NUC-approved program is investing in infrastructure to support teaching, learning and the institution's growth.
Yeah, we are trusting God that moving forward, we shall continue to move from one stage of growth to the other until a time where sandwich program will be a full-blown expanded program of the university. That is our prayer.
I want you to know that sandwich program in Taraba State University is fully regulated by National Universities Commission, and all this is credit to our Vice Chancellor. And I want you to know all this achievement, all those things that you are seeing is as a result of the good leadership of the Vice Chancellor of Taraba State University.
The university describes the project as one of its few internally funded infrastructure initiatives in recent years. It also commends the Taraba State government for reducing tuition fees by 50% and expanding access to education. Representing the state government, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Bako, says the sandwich program continues to provide flexible learning opportunities for teachers, civil servants, and other working professionals, while stressing the need to maintain quality education.
As teachers yourselves, it is your level of enthusiasm that you are going to pass to these children that you are training. And if a teacher is not enthusiastic about his job, you can be sure that even his delivery will be faulty. Am I right? And the children you are training, they are at a very vulnerable age, very impressionable.
The event also features the unveiling of the Sandwich Book of Reading, aimed at strengthening the program's academic offerings and supporting professional development.
Humanitarian Fund, in partnership with the Grow Strong Foundation, has trained and supported 400 vulnerable widows and orphans in Gujba, the most affected local government areas by the Boko Haram conflict in Yobe State. The project, which has three components of child protection, violence against women and girls, and general protection, is aimed at supporting the survivors of conflict to be self-reliant through vocational skills training. For thousands of families in Nigeria's northeast, surviving the horrors of insurgency is only the beginning. Rebuilding lives after years of conflict remains an even greater challenge. In Gushba, local government area of Yobe State, many widows, orphans and survivors of armed conflict continue to depend on humanitarian assistance to help them regain their independence. The Nigerian Humanitarian Fund, in partnership with the Grow Strong Foundation, is supporting 400 conflict victims and survivors with vocational skills and startup support.
This distribution is happening due to our survivors that we identified under violence against women and girls to support them with the economic reintegration so that they will be self-reliant and to curtail or to avoid the future occurrence of what makes them or factors that makes them to be vulnerable and survivors once again.
These skills were not just selected. An assessment was conducted to determine the marketable skills here in Bunyadi Gujuba, and then we also had an FGD with them to select among those marketable skills.
Among the beneficiaries is Muktari Abubakar, who escaped from a Boko Haram enclave at the age of 7 after his parents were killed. Today, he has acquired shoemaking skills and is taking steps towards becoming self-reliant.
We are grateful to the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund and the Grow Strong Foundation. We were abducted alongside our parents, who were later killed while trying to escape. I eventually escaped from Gogo to Buniyadi with no relatives to support me. I survived by begging for food before returning to school. Now I have been trained in shoemaking and I am grateful for this opportunity.
Another beneficiary, Habiba Ali, survived gender-based violence. Through the program, she receives training in local pasta production and bag making, skills she hopes will provide a sustainable source of income.
Before the Grow Strong Foundation came into my life, I struggled to survive. Even getting food was difficult. I sold bean cakes, but I still faced stigma because of my past experiences. Today, I have received vocational training and I am thankful for the support.
Community leaders, civil society organizations and youth groups commend the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund and the Grow Strong Foundation for supporting the reintegration of conflict-affected families and helping restore livelihoods.
We appreciate this intervention by the Nigeria Humanitarian Fund and the Grow Strong Foundation. Over the past few months, many people, especially women, have benefited. They have also received startup grants to establish small businesses.
The presentation of startup kits to all beneficiaries marks the climax of the program, offering many of them a renewed opportunity to rebuild their lives, support their families, and look beyond the scars of conflict with hope for a better future. Staying with Yobe State, the government under the Ministry of Wealth Creation, Empowerment and Employment Generation has signed contracts of 364 million naira to procure 1,000 grinding machines for free distribution to vulnerable women in the state. The ministry also signed another contract of 460 million naira for the procurement of 1,780 bags of 50 kg bags of beans for free distribution as well to female small business owners in the state. The commissioner of the ministry, Aji Yerima Bularafa, who signed the two contracts on behalf of the state government, asked the contractor to supply the items within the stipulated time.
You are given approval in the State Executive Council. One, the procurement of 1,780 bags of beans of 50 kg. The second approval is the purchase of 1,000 units of Yamaha GX 390 grinding machines.
Ministry of Wealth Creation will not hesitate to reject any substandard supply. We will not hesitate
to reject any substandard supply, because everything has specification already. So if you go against the specification, honestly speaking, you the supplier will not accept it. And any delay, that means we will be charging you.
And that's Newsroom series today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joka Rogers.